Welcome to the RadioU Podcast. Coming up, PETA is not happy with Mr. Beast.
Also, do you really hope that this email finds me well?
All that and more on the way next. Oh, if only Nene were here. 8772 Radio U to help eulogize LeBron and the LA Lakers from yesterday. They went down last night.
They did.
The series is over.
Yep.
Nene kept coming over to my office and he'd be like, Lugansdort, Seaport, Lakers in 5. And I was really confused because Lugansdort isn't even on the Lakers.
Yeah.
Even I know that. But the Lakers did lose in 5. He was right.
Yeah, they lost in 5.
Yeah.
Did not win in 5,
No.
Unfortunately. I don't even think in one game in this series scored over 100 points. It's kind of crazy that they never crossed the century mark.
They had a tough time getting offense, and the Wolves really, really stifled Luka, I think, the most. Like, I was really expecting more from him. LeBron is older. He can be more of a facilitator, and so you can see how he wouldn't find his way to scoring a lot, but hopefully setting up others. But Luka, like, you just expect him to take over.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm really starting to, and I never really liked the trade from the beginning with the whole, Lakers and Mavericks, but I'm really starting to think it's affecting Luka, or it did affect Luka in some way. I mean, when we saw that clip of how devastated he was when they returned to Dallas, and yes, he had an absolutely fantastic night there for the Lakers. I think he was putting on a show for that Mavericks audience. But I think this really did get to him more than maybe we realized. And yeah, obviously you got to give props to the Timberwolves for coming up with a good game plan to shut him down and all of that. It really worked. But I'll be interested to see how he does on the Lakers next year.
Yeah. I you know what? You know what could be too? That Luka had trouble on offense because he actually had to play defense on the Lakers.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot out of you too.
It does.
So, but I think it's important for the Lakers to remember as we look back on their season that when the trade was made, even at the time, there were some people that were just all hyped, like, they're going to the championship.
Right.
But the truth was, the Lakers aren't going to win this year because they have Luka and LeBron, but not a whole lot else. And so they need to build out the rest of the roster, get a center, and so this year wasn't their year. And we might have got tricked. Maybe we got a little, after they started looking good in the regular season, maybe we got the wool pulled over our eyes a bit, but this is what we should have expected. Meanwhile, though, the Timberwolves did look not just like good, but like surprisingly dominant against another good team. And I think we shouldn't be shocked if they wind up giving the Thunder a run for their money and maybe get into the finals.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I think that Thunder Timberwolves series is going to be a good one, and I'm excited to see how it goes. I feel like both teams have good size, so because I think, as you mentioned, the size advantage for the Timberwolves probably really was the main reason why they won this.
Yeah, I mean, Rudy Gobert had a double-double last night, and the thing with the Thunder that has always been questioned, they have some playoff experience, but not as much, and then you have SGA as your star, but if you can...
No, you have Anthony.
No, for the Thunder.
Oh, okay.
You have SGA as your star, but these other guys have even less playoff experience. Who do you have as like your number 2? Because you just know you're typically able to count on your star, but you need a second guy.
Yeah.
And maybe the Wolves have a little more, maybe they're, especially with more playoff tested, maybe once we get to, if they both meet in the finals, conference finals, maybe the Wolves have a little more depth on their roster, just somebody else they can count on. Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid, somebody else that the Thunder may not.
Yeah, you never know.
They got a shot. I think they got a shot, and I didn't think that coming into the playoffs.
Okay.
I feel like there's so much pressure when it comes to sending emails, like professionally. 8772 Radio U in a professional setting. Why is it that I'll sit and agonize over how to word an email to somebody else, to a colleague, to somebody if we have a business relationship? Why is it so difficult, Allie? Do you experience this?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like, first of all, it's tough because you don't want to, especially if it's someone that you don't communicate with often, you don't want to come across as like this is just the most bland business email
Yeah.
ever. And so usually I do include a greeting,
Mm-hmm.
a classic phrase that this is probably included in the phrases that you shouldn't use anymore. I hope this email finds you well. I include stuff like that sometimes if it's somebody I haven't talked to in a long time.
I don't know if that's on this list, but I'm sorry, that is pretty cringe.
It is, but I mean, I just feel like at this point I'm so ingrained in like I have to do that or like have some type of formal greeting at the beginning, not just like hi person and then here's what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll ever stop doing that.
I get around the just hi and but trying to still sound friendly with exclamation points. That's how I do it.
So you do like hi so and so exclamation point.
Yes, to make it seem fun. That's what I do. Okay, so here's the point. I have a relationship etiquette expert, Jenny Dreisen, who says there's one common phrase that people are putting in emails that they like for work that you need to stop. And this is a big one. You gotta stop saying just checking in.
Ooh.
You ever do that?
I have done that before.
Yeah.
Usually it's for follow-up emails when they have not followed up.
Yeah. Yeah,
where
exactly.
I'm like, I'm sending another email to them and I don't want to come across as mean or, like trying to rush them, but I'm trying to rush you.
Yeah.
I need an answer.
Well, you're being passive aggressive, and that's the problem. You need to be more direct, according to Jenny Dreisen, the etiquette and relationship expert. She claims that if you're putting just checking in, it's not accomplishing what you think it's going to accomplish because it kind of just means nothing. But also, it doesn't actually give the person any direction. So she recommends instead saying something like, wanted to know how progress was going on, blah, 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 whatever the thing is that you were just checking in about.
Yeah.
The thing with this is, I don't want my emails to sound unnatural, which is also why I would never say, hope this email finds you well, because I wouldn't ever say anything like that in real life.
Yeah, sure.
And so I would never walk up to Nene and go, wanted to know hey Nene, wanted to know how progress is going on you making that video for us or whatever. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't say that in an email. So
you would just be like, how's that video coming along?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
That sounds like something you would
But
say.
I would also sit there and agonize about sending that email for 30 minutes first, which I would not do about just going and talking to him.
Yeah, but again, I do feel like there's a difference here between those that you email often and those that you don't. So let's say you're emailing somebody outside of your organization. Listen, I used to work in a sales type environment.
Yeah.
Before that job, I used to work in admissions. I was emailing people all the time that I didn't talk to on a regular basis that were not in my organization. You have to include phrases like these in those type of emails or you will turn people off from responding to you. So it's a weird balance that you have to strike there.
Yeah, you have to sound fake.
Well,
That's why I couldn't do sales.
You have to sound nice but also not pushy. Like you want an answer but you can't be pushy.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's why I can never do sales.
It's not an easy job.
Yeah, I'm just too genuine, you know?
I think you're just too scared. You're like overthinking it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I had to agonize 30 minutes over an email that's pretty low stakes.
Yeah.
Think about how long it would take me to send an email to someone I was trying to sell something to.
Right.
PETA's coming after Mr. Beast. 8772 Radio U. Earlier this week, with the 100 men versus one gorilla debate going on, Mr. Beast tweeted out, posted on X, whatever. He said, need 100 men to test this. Any volunteers? PETA saw this and got upset. People for the ethical treatment of animals, they tweeted out, 100 men versus a gorilla. Maybe try 100 reasons to leave animals out of your content instead. We love to have fun. Just leave animals out of it.
Okay.
Doesn't sound like you love to have fun, PETA. Somebody commented, let the animals have some fun. PETA said, exploiting animals isn't fun for them. Let's give them the freedom to enjoy real fun in their natural habitats where they belong. Which normally that sentence, that's a great sentence from PETA.
Sure.
But here's what they don't understand. 100 men versus a gorilla, that's just one gorilla, and it's for science.
And it's for science.
Yeah, so for research purposes, I think we can do this.
I think they'd be even more opposed to that.
But the thing is, I think the gorilla's going to survive.
Okay.
This debate's been going on for a few days, right? We talked about it earlier. The more I've thought about it, the more I've been convinced that the gorilla would win.
Okay. I think a lot of people think it's like King Kong.
The gorilla is King Kong?
It's not King Kong.
I don't think it needs to be King Kong.
It's a regular silverback, what I've seen is people saying a silverback gorilla, which is an extremely strong gorilla. Mm-hmm. But it's not super, it's not like got super soldier serum or something in it. Mm-hmm. It's a gorilla.
Yeah, but think about this. If it's got the strength of, let's say, 5 men, conservatively, because I think that's fair, right? It's got the strength of 5 men.
I'd say 5 or 10.
5 average men.
Yeah.
And so how many men out of the 100 are really going to go at it all at once? 5, 10, and then all it does is it easily handles those, takes one guy's arm off, starts beating another guy with it, and then all the other guys are going to be too scared to get involved.
Too scared?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once they see one man dismembered by the gorilla, they're going to be like, I'm done here. I'm out of here. They're going to start running for the hills. This is 100 average men. This is not a 100, just like it's not King Kong. This is not 100 Captain Americas. This is 100 guys like me, and most people are afraid of getting there. They're like, what would 100 guys, what's their motivation?
Well, I don't know what the motivation for any of this is, for the argument for anything.
The gorilla's motivation is I want to live, and so is all the guys. But the gorilla, the guys know they can just leave if they want. If they get too scared, if they start to...
I think the gorilla knows that too.
Yes,
but could just run away.
Exactly, which is why the men would never win.
Yeah, well, here's the thing about animals. I know this, from different encounters with different animals. Mm-hmm. If you make yourself bigger, animals get scared. Mm-hmm. And so if the group formed a wall of this just massive amount of things, the gorilla might get a little freaked out.
It might, but you're really counting on 100 guys to get very quickly organized. And I don't believe that can happen.
I know you already said that when we talked about it. You're like, they're not going to be able to communicate or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but
the tough guys are going to argue. The scared guys are going to be scared. And by that point, it's too late. The gorilla's already shown its dominance.
The gorilla's already charging into the group.
It's already bitten into a guy's neck and blood is spurting everywhere. And everybody is afraid. And they're tapping out.
I just think you are making the assumption that this gorilla is far more aggressive than it might actually be.
It's gonna have to defend. Gorillas, you see them just walking around the zoo, they're aggressive.
I don't know if I'd see them biting somebody's head off.
Biting its neck.
Okay, or biting somebody's neck or whatever.
Because its gorilla friends are around. It's not going to bite another gorilla. They already know the hierarchy.
Yeah, well, I mean, they can fight. I'm not denying that part, but I just think a lot of people are assuming this is King Kong, and it's going to be like, it's naturally, the aggression is at like 100. I don't know if that's actually accurate for gorillas. I don't know gorillas that well, but
you don't need to know them that well. They're strong and people are stupid.
We need a gorilla expert.
I want a gorilla expert to come on here and tell us how bad a gorilla would mess it. We need a gorilla and man expert.
Gorilla and man expert.
Yeah. Allie called me off guard yesterday. She said, I've got to sweep the studio. And for everybody that doesn't know, the RadioU studio has carpet. Now, it took me a second, but it always just catches me off guard. When Allie said sweep, she meant vacuum.
Yep.
And this brings me to why I'm opening up the RadioU hotline.
877-2-RADIO-U.
What is a regional slang or term or phrase that caught you off guard? Because I never, until I lived in Ohio for a while, had heard anybody call vacuuming sweeping.
And I will say I've called it both before, but I was just referring to I was like, we're doing a food fight today, so I think after that, after we're done with the show, I'm just gonna go ahead and do some sweeping in here. I think that's exactly what I said yesterday, and you were like, sweeping? You mean vacuuming?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's what I mean, but
then why didn't you just say that?
No, I have literally said both.
Yeah.
I think both work, both are correct. That's how I view it.
I've heard it both ways. What a great phrase. Sweeping, we don't need to get into an argument about it. It's just not, when, we are in a business, particularly, I think this is important, where clarity is key. We need to convey what we're saying in a way that it makes sense to people. And when you say sweeping, people don't know if you mean vacuuming or if you mean sweeping.
Well,
that's why I always have said vacuuming. It just makes sense.
I think people in the Midwest are totally fine with saying sweeping.
It's a worldwide show, Allie. People listen from all over.
Well, I'm just saying that's the reason I said that is because of my Midwestern heritage.
Yeah. 8772 Radio U. But I know, and as a well-traveled guy, and Allie, you probably have experienced this too, there's regional things that make a lot less sense than sweep. But if you go to that region, they're just like, yep, this is what we say, and you just have to get with the program.
Right. Well, there was one you told me yesterday from, I think you said it was from Massachusetts.
Oh, yeah,
I had never heard it before, and this is the reason why we were like, we got to do a break about this.
It's very, very regional. 8772 Radio U. Let us know regional slang, terms, or phrases that have caught you off guard in the past or that don't make sense to you. We start with Brittany, who says she grew up calling a creek a crick.
Yeah, that's definitely I feel an Appalachian thing.
Yeah, it's more of a accent than like a phrase or terminology, but I love how in the South, Appalachia, sometimes there's a tendency to shorten words that are already one syllable. I definitely knew a lot of people that said crick instead of creek growing up.
Yeah.
Also people, I don't know if this even counts, but people that would say roof instead of roof.
Yeah, a lot of people pronounce that differently.
But then you don't say roofing, you say roofing, right?
Yeah.
So that never made a lot of sense to me. But a slightly more efficient, time saving.
Yeah.
Hannah says calling a grocery cart a buggy. Hannah's from Vermont, or at least she's in Vermont, and it looks like she is from Ohio. So is that a New England thing that they call a...
I don't know if it is a New England thing, because I feel like that's another thing I've heard in Appalachia. I was born in West Virginia, and I feel like a lot of people use buggy there.
Or is it maybe it's just an old-timey thing?
Maybe.
It's not even, it's just people that haven't gotten with modern-day terminology.
Haven't gotten with the times.
Yeah, call it a buggy instead of... But speaking of New England, though, in New England, this is the one I mentioned yesterday, there are areas where they will call a water fountain, that you would drink out of at school or whatever, or refill your water bottle, they would call that a bubbler.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've never heard that before.
And I guess specifically in New England, they call it a bubbler because that's how they talk.
Yeah, I would have not known that. I would have not understood what they were referring to had I ever heard that before. So
also,
that blew my mind.
Another New England thing that I caught on to that I didn't understand at first, the first time I went to visit, is a package store. Do you know what a package store is?
I don't.
And some people even shorten it and call it a packy, which can definitely get you in trouble.
Okay.
It's like a liquor store.
Oh.
A liquor store is a package store in the Northeast.
Okay.
But I had not heard that until I went to visit family in Connecticut.
Yeah.
8772 Radio U. Go ahead and send him any other regional slang terms that didn't make sense to you or maybe still don't. We also heard from Susanna, who said my Canadian boyfriend back in the day called a gas station a gas bar.
What?
I've never heard that.
No, I have never heard that.
I know in the UK they call gas petro.
Petrol.
Yeah, petrol.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've never heard of a gas bar. But that sounds like something completely different. That sounds entirely different.
In Zambia, we called it a petrol station.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, I think the United States is probably the weird one on that, where we call it gas.
Yeah, I think the rest of the world calls it petrol.
Yeah. But another Canadian slang that I am familiar with is that many in Canada will not call a sofa or couch either of those things.
What do they call it?
A Chesterfield.
A Chesterfield.
Yeah.
That's a brand.
My grandma was famous for just every, just like you would call a tissue a Kleenex, she calls all sofas Chesterfields.
It's just like down south, they call all pop Coke.
Yeah.
No, even if it's a Dr. Pepper, it's a Coke. Yeah.
I'm kind of like that too.
You do that? You
I
call it
tend
all
to
Coke?
just generalize it as Coke, even though that's not a region that I'm even from at all.
I hop back and forth between pop and soda. I definitely say pop more, but I hop back and forth between those two.
Mickey says, I'm in Tennessee, and we call grocery carts buggies.
Yeah.
Shopping carts buggies.
I think Susanna had also said it's more of a southern thing, but I definitely know in West Virginia they call it buggies.
I mean, I'm familiar with that. I've just never actually heard someone say that.
Yeah.
Suzanne also says her Canadian boyfriend would call a decal a decal, which my mom definitely did.
Really? I've never heard that before. All right, I'm going to give you one that I grew up with, panel beater.
What the heck is that?
It's a car mechanic.
What is that, a Zambia thing?
No, it's a British thing.
A British thing?
Yeah.
And so why, you're not British?
No, but Zambia was a British colony.
Okay, so it is a Zambia thing.
Well, I said something I grew up in Zambia with. You must not have heard when I said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Panel beater.
Panel beater.
What is that even, how does that make sense?
I have no idea where the origin is from, but I remember when we first moved there were like signs like panel beater or whatever. And we're like, what's that? And they're like, it's a car mechanic.
That is confusing. That really is. That doesn't make any sense. Erin says I don't know where she is, but she says we call seasoned potato wedges JoJo's.
I've heard of this.
Yeah.
I've heard of this.
I've been to restaurants where they have JoJo's.
Yeah, they have JoJo's on the menu. Yeah.
I also know from growing up in Maryland that there was places that would call them Western fries.
Okay.
And I don't know why.
Yeah,
I don't know what's Western about them.
I haven't heard that either.
Max says in Eastern Pennsylvania, they call rubber bands gum bands. And red up means to clean up a space.
Red up?
Red up.
Okay.
I've been, I grew up in Maryland, close to Eastern Pennsylvania. I never heard either of those. It's crazy how hyper-regional these are.
Yeah, they can be.
Mark Zuckerberg has said some wild things, but this might take the cake. 8772 Radio U. He just did an interview for a podcast with Dwakesh Patel. Listen to this quote. Mark Zuckerberg said, here's one stat from working on social media for a long time that I always think is crazy. The average American has fewer than 3 friends, fewer than 3 people they would consider friends. And the average person has demand for meaningfully more. I think it's something like 15 friends or something. Okay, that might be accurate.
Okay.
But he says that the answer is Meta creating AI friends so people can get a connection in that way that they can't have with real people in real life.
Okay, so your answer to, hey, we have a problem with people not having meaningful relationships in their life, the answer is artificial intelligence.
Yeah, with very, very, the most meaningless relationship you can possibly have.
Literally, it's artificial. Come on, Mark. You had to know that this was not going to be received well.
Yeah, he even... I don't even want to go into this. But man, nobody seems to be happy with this. Nobody's asking for this. We don't want AI friends.
No.
Somebody said on X, they said maybe Mark's trying to tell us something about himself.
Ooh.
I seem to have a problem establishing connections with others. AI is the only answer for Mark Zuckerberg. Now,
I'm starting to be convinced he is an AI, and this is why he's... He
is the messenger. He is like the figurehead of AI.
Right. He's like, I need to promote this because I need my AI friends to get human friends.
That may actually be the explanation.
Like, why else would you be promoting this? I mean, obviously he's profiting from it. It's his business.
Yeah.
But he's coming across as if he is an AI here. Like, what are you saying?
As many people have pointed out too, this is a problem that people only have like 3 real life friends when they have demand for more. That is very much of Facebook and Meta's own making.
Right.
Because since the inception of Facebook over 20 years ago now, it has more and more found ways to be more addictive. And then they've, gotten Instagram involved, et cetera, with the algorithms and blah, blah, blah. Just the advent of social media has been one of the things that has really disconnected us from other people in real life and filled that space with relationships that aren't as meaningful.
Exactly. Last year, I read a book by Jonathan Haidt, who's a psychologist, I believe. It's called Anxious Generation, and it literally talks about that very thing, how social media, which is this idea of being able to socialize with people, has actually just caused us to turn more inward and to, really become recluse. Like we don't even want to be out in society at all. And so, it's caused, in my opinion, a lot more problems than it's solved.
Mm-hmm. And the solution is more social media.
No, Mark. It's not.
Is more technology and AI and less talking to actual real life people. Especially in real life. You definitely wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm sorry, technology in this scenario, it's not for every scenario, but technology can't solve this problem that it created. It just can't.
It's now, I don't want to sit here and just be completely bashing on social media because there is a study here that says that people who use social media for the motive of maintaining relationships feel lonelier than those who spend the same amount of time on social media for other reasons. So literally, the problem with social media is if you try
to use it how it's intended.
Yeah, at least the top. Yeah, right. To connect with people. Literally what Facebook is meant for is the worst thing you can use social media for.
I mean, that feels right.
Do not. This is why we got off of Facebook and why Mark Zuckerberg desperately trying to figure out how to still get people on there and using it even... especially the lonely people.
And I mean, have you scrolled through Facebook lately? It's filled with AI-generated content, and it's the worst stuff ever. We don't want more, Mark. We don't. We do not want more.
Mark Zuckerberg.
He's an AI, I'm convinced.
Just when I thought he couldn't bother me more. On the menu today from KFC, we have not only the return of their chicken and waffles, we also have their brand new mashed potato poppers. I have to be careful with this because there's a lot of liquid and sticky liquid.
I'm so nervous
involved.
watching you right
I know.
now.
I don't know if people can really see it, but I can't really hold it a different way for them to be able to see. If you're watching on the RadioU Mornings YouTube channel or Facebook page, there's syrup, there's gravy.
There's so much happening.
But it all seems very exciting. I'm trying to remember. The chicken and waffles is new on the menu at KFC. But they had it. This was on the menu once before.
Okay.
It says in 2018. I'm trying to remember if I ever had that.
I definitely did not have it.
It doesn't sound familiar. I don't even remember them having this.
I lived in the United States at the time. I moved back from Africa in 2017, so I would have been around, but I do not remember it.
I wonder, even though it says it was on the menu, if it was like regional or something.
Maybe it was down south.
Maybe, or they were just testing it somewhere. I don't know, but it's here now. And we have it.
And we got it.
And so we'll start with that, the KFC chicken and waffles. I've already concocted a bite that has...
So are you supposed to eat it like that with the waffle kind of stacked?
That's how I would eat it. I don't know if I can fit this all in my mouth.
I was going to say, I don't know if I can
bite.
do all of that, but we'll try it. I'll let you go first because that's a whole mouthful.
It's a lot.
It's going to take you a second to get through it. The waffle is very dense.
It's a thick
just
waffle.
Cutting it, I noticed how dense it was.
It's no Eggo. It's no Eggo waffle.
Okay.
Like, this is a real deal.
Yeah.
Even though it probably was frozen. It's a nice combo. You better dive in. It does taste good. Don't fool yourself. This is not like if you go to a sit-down restaurant that has chicken and waffles on the menu. This is not that. This is not that good. But to have any fast food restaurant offer chicken and waffles, the spicy, well, not really spicy, but like the sweet and the savory kind of together.
Yeah.
It is a nice combo. You would want to sit down to eat this or else it would get very messy with the syrup.
I know I'm a little nervous about my sweater here.
I think you're clean.
I think I'm good.
You're clean for now.
Safe. Yeah.
But, I mean, what do you think? Would you ever order that?
I don't know if I would on my own time. I honestly don't eat at KFC a whole lot, but that tasted really good to me.
I do. I kind of just want to try the chicken just on its own because I just never eat at KFC.
I really like their chicken tenders. If ever I go to KFC, I order their chicken tenders. And so I'm a fan of that already.
Mm-hmm.
And with the waffle and the syrup added in, which it is Mrs. Buttersworth, I should point that out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like some rando brand. It's a
also
name brand.
It's also not actual maple syrup.
Yes.
It's original syrup.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
But anyways, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I like that. $7, if anyone's wondering, for 3 tenders and 1 waffle and the syrup.
Yeah.
But the waffle is a thick waffle.
It's absolutely thick.
We also got and these are brand new, the mashed potato poppers, which are literally balls that supposedly are deep fried with mashed potatoes inside, and then there's gravy to dip with it. So I'm going to try this. Oh, okay.
Okay. That sounded a little Canadian.
The mashed potatoes just squeeze out at you.
Squeeze out of it?
Mm-hmm. Like if you don't put the whole thing in your mouth, they kind of pop out. I guess that's why they call them poppers.
Oh, yeah, they do call them poppers. We're just passing gravy around.
Just
and
liquid all over the equipment.
It's not safe. It's not safe. I don't know why we decided to do this.
No more passing until we're out of this room. But what do you think? Do you normally eat gravy too? Like, she made a face. I don't even think that was on camera, but she's still making a face. It's not
terrible, but I wouldn't choose to eat it.
I love mashed potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
I love gravy. I love things being deep fried. I really wanted that combo to be much better than it was.
Yeah, it's a meh.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it's a all right.
I think those are only an order of the mashed potatoes with gravy. The mashed potato bites is only $2 or $3.
Okay, not bad.
And then
potatoes are cheap, man.
Yeah, they're the only thing left. It's cheap.
The only thing that's staying
Hopefully
cheap.
we never get a blight or anything like that anytime soon. But that was okay. I don't know if that they have other sides of KFC. I think I'd just rather have regular mashed potatoes and gravy.
I personally love KFC's fries because they're like extra, extra crispy.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm going and I want a potato thing, I'm just going to get their fries.
All right. So KFC, the chicken and waffles and mashed potato poppers with gravy. I feel like we're getting a very middle of the road response. But not exciting.
Chicken and waffles, I'd say 6 or 7. The popper, I'd say 4 or 5. So
out of 10, right?
Oh, out of 10, yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, I guess that would make it like a 6. The overall experience.
Yeah.
But if it was just the chicken and waffles, I think it would be a higher number.
On a fast food scale, comparing this to other, Popeyes, McDonald's, and where Popeyes is a 10, of course. This was a solid 6. You're right.
Yeah, I think a 6 is good because it's not bad, but it's not blowing your socks
Definitely,
off.
we'll be happy to finish this. We aren't well, I'm a little disappointed in the potatoes, but it's not like, oh, I don't like this. It's just like, I'm not really excited to go back either.
Yeah.
That's your food fight on RadioU. I really want to see this made into a movie. 8772 RadioU. A 7-year-old in Utah who took his parents' car. And first, we're talking about a 7-year-old driving here, okay? He took his parents' car on a trip to McDonald's.
Oh, no.
With his 5-year-old sister in the car with him.
Oh, my goodness.
They took a trip together trying to get to McDonald's. I want to see this turned into a movie. I would love to see the mishaps.
Is it a horror movie?
The adventure that happened along the way, because I bet you they were having a grand old time until the journey finally came to an end. They were probably so excited. 7 years old, what's more exciting than McDonald's?
Yes, but I don't even know how a 7-year-old would drive a car.
Mm-hmm. How is he tall enough?
Yeah, how is he tall enough? The car, from what I could see here, has been crashed, as you could probably guess. So I don't know how far they made it.
Oh no! He really messed it up.
It really did not go well. So
wheels aren't supposed to turn that way.
No, I don't know how far he made it, but it looks like they're in a neighborhood, and so I'm like, did they get even down the street? I don't know, but that's, I hope they're okay.
Yeah, I think they're all right. It was a 7-year-old. So here's the story. This was early on a Sunday morning where the mom claims that she has 4 kids. She claims she woke up and like checked on everybody. Everybody was asleep still, all the kids. So she went back to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time she woke up, it was police knocking on her door because they had eventually come across this 7-year-old driving, what is this, a Ford Edge or something like that?
Yeah, it looks like some type of SUV.
Ford SUV. They were following it at first because it had been driving strangely, reckless driving, but disengaged when they noticed that the driver had to be so young, so they didn't want to, treat it the same way you would treat a person driving recklessly, an adult. But the vehicle did, obviously, they followed it, and eventually the vehicle did wind up hitting a parking strip, and that was the end of their journey together, the 7-year-old with his 5-year-old sister.
Oh.
And so then, of course, they had to bring them back to mom, and that's the end of that. But I imagine until that accident happened, they were probably having so much fun. And so I would love to have seen that, and obviously happy that they're okay. But this is not the first time we've heard a story like this either. Sometimes kids just get it in their head, like they need that Minecraft Happy Meal, and they're going. Yeah. They're going no matter what. Yeah. They're taking matters into their own hands.
I don't know. I mean, this scares me. It scares me a lot to think of a child just, hopping in a car and driving away with it. Like, I don't know what extent needed to happen for them to even be able to get on the road. Like, how does he even know how to turn the car on at 7 years old? So I know they probably have a push button start.
Yeah, right.
But still, like, that's crazy to me. This whole story is insane.
Yeah, which is why it'd be a great movie.
I mean, maybe, because it's crazy. Maybe it'll end up as like a Law and Order episode or something.
Oh, no, they wouldn't treat it right. This should be like Harold and Kumar style, go to White Castle, but with children.
Yeah.
Like a fun buddy trip, I think, because you think about their mindset, they were not thinking, this wasn't a horror movie to them.
No.
This was a fun adventure.
Sure.
This was Rugrats. This was Tommy and friends.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're going to get a Reptar Happy Meal, but real life.
Right.
And so I think this should be made into a movie.
I mean, it'd be interesting.
And then it could have a real emotional ending. Like maybe.
The reunification.
Actually, let me just doctor this up real quick. If somebody, producers want to get at me with this idea that, it's based on a true story. It doesn't have to be real. So the mom wakes up before the police arrive. And she's like, oh no,
my kids are gone.
Where's the kids?
Yeah.
And then you get a real nice emotional reunion. And instead of the kids crashing, they actually do get to McDonald's and they do get their Happy Meal. Then the police bring them home.
McDonald's would fully support this movie.
This would be a great movie. A great movie. Netflix, I'll take a cut from this. Allie, check out this video that Andy sent in at 8772 Radio U.
Okay.
It's
go find it.
It is a restaurant and ice cream shop in North Ridgeville, Ohio. It's called Dairy Grove, so kind of near the Cleveland area.
I was having trouble finding his message.
Oh, I put it in. I
got it.
So you got to see this. It is Dairy Grove, an ice cream shop in North Ridgeville, Illinois, where they now have a new item on the menu. A hot dog and nacho cheese flurry.
Oh.
Soft serve ice cream, hot dog chunks, warm nacho cheese, topped with whipped cream. Enjoy.
Yeah, that looks wild.
It's cursed, doesn't it?
It looks absolutely cursed. I would never have this, but I have to say, the person that posted this video, if you ever heard of him, he's a Cleveland area influencer who went viral, like maybe even global, but definitely nationwide, not too long ago because he did the whole eating only the Costco hot dogs for like a week or something.
That was this guy, but I definitely remember this guy.
Yeah, his name's Suryat.
Yeah.
So he is like a hot dog.
Mr. Hot Dog.
Yeah, he's Mr. Hot Dog. He shows up to Cleveland Guardians games wearing like the Where's Waldo costume. He just does all sorts of little viral things on social media. He's kind of gotten
into my lane because I thought I was Mr. Hot Dog.
I know. You're going to need to start doing some stuff that Suryat does.
Yeah, and I don't even have a Costco membership. So he beat me on that. But I've got to go check this. I've got to check this out. I don't know the next time I'll be in North Ridgeville, Ohio, but if I pass through, I'm ordering this.
Yeah, you need to.
The hot dog and nacho cheese flurry, come on. Like, actually, the sweet and savory together actually sounds like that could be beautiful.
I know we talked about how we both liked doing the whole dipping your fries in your McFlurry.
Mm-hmm.
This could be similar.
It could work, and I've had some interesting hot dog toppings in my life.
Yeah, I've seen some people do like the Fruit Loop ones or the Fruity Pebble ones with like the cereal on top.
Even like corn dogs, kind of like you're talking about, like the corn dog batter can be kind of sweet. Ketchup is sweet, right? Yeah. Maybe even add some ketchup into this. Also, onion rings. Onion rings are kind of sweet in a way.
Yeah, a little bit, but not as sweet as ice cream.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know if I would like this, but I wouldn't be opposed to trying it.
Interesting. So you want to just take
the cheese is what throws me off, though.
Really?
The cheese is what makes me think I wouldn't like this.
You know what my concern is? I mean, the cheese is one thing, but my concern is the hot dogs are not high quality.
Oh, you have a standard.
Yeah, if these aren't all beef franks, if it's pork, chicken, turkey, no thank you.
Yeah, beef franks are the best.
And I can tell. I'll be able to tell, even in ice cream.
I can say in the video they didn't look like beef franks.
No, they don't. Well, it might not be technically a crime to prank call people, but apparently it can be very expensive. If your child does it.
It can be costly.
8772 Radio U. Definitely do not prank call us, or the NFL might come after you. The NFL, after the NFL draft this past weekend, where Shedeur Sanders fell in the draft, he was the big headline of the whole day, the whole weekend, really. Mm-hmm. And part of that was he received a prank call from somebody pretending to be from the New Orleans Saints, claiming that they were drafting him, and then it was a fake. It was a joke.
Yeah.
The prank caller, one of them anyways, was, because it was a group of college kids. One of them was Jax Ulbrich, who is the son of Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich, former standing head coach for the New York Jets this past season.
Yes.
Because Jax Ulbrich got Shedeur Sanders' draft day phone number from his dad's iPad, the NFL is fining Jeff Ulbrich $250,000 and also docking him $100,000 in pay. $350,000 for a prank call that lasted 30 seconds.
So they're fining the franchise $250,000 and Ulbrich himself $100,000.
Okay.
Which I know a lot of people, when they see these fines in major sports, you know, they'll be like, oh, such and such person got fined because he was, you know, talking after and kind of being, you know, saying stuff about the refs or the umpires or whatever, and ended up getting a fine. And you're like, it's not that big of a deal. They make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
For Jeff Ulbrich, according to his salary, this is a big deal.
This is a lot.
This is a lot of his money.
Listen, I don't care if he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
This is too much money to find somebody for a prank call.
Oh, absolutely. I think, you know, he shouldn't be fined at all because it's really not his fault. His son did this. But the reason they're stating the reason why they're fining him is because of the whole idea of lack of security. You were supposed to keep these phone numbers secure. You didn't do that because your son got on your iPad somehow and got this number. So that's the stated reason from the NFL as to why they're getting a fine.
Okay, and that is not $100,000 worthy thing. It's definitely not. It's ridiculous.
I personally think this has nothing to do with the prank call and everything to do with the NFL leadership, Roger Goodell or whatever, kind of pushing back on what we saw during the draft, which was teams making a statement that they didn't want a diva and they didn't want to deal with Shedeur Sanders' drama with his dad and everything else.
There was literally, too, some people are claiming it's a racial thing.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. But anyways, I do think...
But yeah, they want to cover that up. Or not, like, just try to make it like, oh, no, we wouldn't do that because...
Right. But I also think the NFL, they're trying to overcompensate. And also they're trying to push back on the teams that decided to pass on this guy
Mm-hmm.
that were likely going to take him and contributed to his fall, and be just being like, yeah, you can't do this anymore. Like, it's not okay to just, let a player fall that far.
It seems that they're trying to make nice with Shedeur Sanders and with the people that have really been vocal about supporting him and thinking that he was, unfairly maligned and mischaracterized and they colluded against him or whatever. And they're like, no, we love Shedeur. We wouldn't collude against somebody, which I don't think they did. I just don't think he's that good.
No.
And nobody wanted, and the teams are like, if you aren't this good, you cannot be this dramatic and come in and derail our organization.
I support the teams, honestly, sending him a message and sending future draft picks a message. Like, if you make yourself a diva, you need to be worth it on the field. And I'm sorry, there's plenty of reasons that Shedeur is just not worth that type of drama.
Yeah. We'll see, because a couple weeks into the season, if he doesn't win the Browns starting job for week 1, or even in the preseason, there's going to be like Kenny Pickett throws an interception, and then it's going to be like, see, Shedeur Sanders should be like Deion Sanders is going to be out there. Shedeur Sanders should be starting.
Right.
It's not. No.
Yeah, it's not going to be fun to deal with that sideshow.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah. Allie and I get to pick our first and worst choices from a certain topic. You decide which of us chose better and which picks we missed. 8772 Radio U. Today's topic, we decided to do movie scores.
Yeah.
We should clarify, just to be clear, this is like the music made for a movie, but not the soundtrack, like song.
This is the orchestration.
Yeah. The Guardians of the Galaxy has a great soundtrack, songs that were made before and they added into the movie. This is music made for the movie, the background music.
Yes, exactly. So this is like, you usually have a pretty well-known composer behind movie soundtrack or movie scores. And so I would imagine both of us are probably going to pick ones, at least for the first ones, that are made by pretty well-known composers.
Yeah, I'll say. Allie, you have the first pick, so tell us your first and worst movie scores.
Okay, well, I did have a hard time picking first because there's so many that I love, but I have to say there's one particular composer that I enjoy all of his stuff, and so I kind of went off of the list of the things he's done. That's John Williams. Amazing. Has a list of so many good things, so many amazing awards that he's won through his career as well. But the one I went with, and this is one of my favorite movies, is the Jurassic Park score.
Okay.
And it's from John Williams.
Yeah.
I love it. He partnered up with Spielberg a lot. Did a lot of, he did Jaws. He did Schindler's List.
Yep.
He did lots of different things.
I think he did Indiana Jones.
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah. And I almost picked Indiana Jones because I love that one too. But I ultimately went with Jurassic Park. For worst, I had a hard time picking this too because I'm like, is there really a worst score out there? It was hard to find. But I remembered one that took me out of the movie.
Okay.
And I feel like that's kind of my, parameter for like, okay, yeah, this is not the best thing. If it takes you out of the movie and like is a little bit jarring, then that is a good sign that it's maybe not the best. And that's the OG Mad Max from 1979.
It's a throwback.
It's a throwback, and the score, while it's not the worst score ever, because I don't know if there really is a worst score ever, but it's too jarring for me. It just takes me out of the movie.
All right. So. My first and worst, I was so worried you're actually going to say my first, because it's also John Williams.
Is it Star Wars?
It's Star Wars. It has to be the first Star Wars because there's so many iconic songs. And these are songs that don't have words, which makes it even more impressive that everybody, when you hear them, knows exactly what it is.
Yeah.
The Cantina song, the opening text roll, I can't remember, text scroll song. The Imperial March is not until The Empire Strikes Back, right? But just iconic music from Star Wars. And that is because of John Williams. You think John Williams is getting up there? Like the Star Wars movies have already fallen off. What are they going to do once he passes away and can't make the scores for the future movies?
Dude, I don't know.
They're going to be a disaster.
I don't know. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. So
that's my first. That's
a great pick.
Although there's a lot of movie scores I love. However, the worst, and this was tough because I was trying to think of like a big movie where the score just didn't do it. And I'm going to go with Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
And so...
I don't even know if I remember the score from it.
Exactly. Best case scenario, you forgot about it. But
Who
worst
did
case
it?
scenario, I can't remember actually because I had it pulled up, but I was like, man, that movie. The movie itself not very good. The score just goes back and forth. Like,
is it Andrew Garfield in that one?
That's the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man's.
Yeah, that's probably
the
why I don't
second
remember.
one. Yeah, that's right. So I just figured not a good movie. A lot of people saw it though.
Yeah.
Not a good score. Best case scenario, you don't remember it. Best or worst case scenario, you remember it, and it's not good. So my first and worst movie scores: Star Wars for first, Amazing Spider-Man 2 for worst.
For me, it's Jurassic Park for first, and Mad Max, the OG Mad Max from 1979, as worst. There are a lot of texts for this first to worst.
Yeah. Brian said the 2007 Transformers, like the Shia LaBeouf Transformers, has one of the best scores.
I don't even know if I remember the score from that one. Who did that one?
I don't remember the score specifically, but just the sound design of Transformers.
The sounds that they make when they're transforming.
Yeah, just
very well done.
About the audio from that movie is great, so I'm sure the score is too. Holly says Hudson chose better.
All right, Holly.
Adam says his first is The Truman Show.
Okay.
With Jim Carrey.
Okay, I can actually see that.
And
is that a James Horner one, maybe? Because I feel like he was doing a lot of stuff back then.
I don't have it in front of me, so sure. But he also Adam has the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and The Lion King, which is Hans Zimmer, as an honorable mention. I think especially if you...
Is it Hans Zimmer?
Yeah, and if you include original songs, which were with Elton John, though you might... I could have made a strong case for Lion King.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
The worst for Adam was something from the Hallmark Channel, probably, but he says Hudson chose better because Star Wars is another good one. Thank you, Adam. Chad says, this is a tough one. Agree with John Williams overall on both of your choices, but I have to go with Hudson based on Spider-Man for worst. He also says Danny Elfman's 1989 Batman score is still iconic today.
Wait, who said that, Chad?
That was Chad.
I agree. I love Danny Elfman's. He's kind of a different type of composer, but I do love his work as well.
He, he did Pee-wee. And it's actually an underrated soundtrack. The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes,
great.
He does a lot of stuff with Tim Burton.
Yep. Susanna says, voting Hudson. Haven't seen either of your worst and like both of your best, but Star Wars more. Her favorites are Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, Oppenheimer, and the favorite track is Truman Sleeps from The Truman Show. So lots of love for The Truman Show soundtrack.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about how good that score is for that movie.
Tim says, voting Allie because Star Wars is now overrated. And Harry Gregson Williams is one you guys forgot about.
Oh, yeah, he's really good.
He did for Narnia, Tim says.
Narnia, oh my goodness, Narnia's score is really good. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the name, but that is a good one. My mom got in. She says the Pirates of the Caribbean score is iconic. That's Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer, one of his best. I almost picked that one.
Corey, thank you. John Carpenter, who not only directs movies, but also does the music of most famously Halloween.
Super talented right there.
That is, the theme song from Halloween is an all-timer.
It's an all-timer, but don't miss the fact that Corey voted for me.
He did vote for you. Every one of your few votes, we got to add them up. Landon says, anything John Williams is good. I would pick Star Wars, though. Honorable mention, Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight. Yes!
Oh.
Finally got Ennio Morricone the Oscar after years of doing amazing spaghetti Western scores.
Yeah.
He finally got one for Hateful Eight, which...
We got so many texts coming in now.
Yeah, we really... People have a lot of thoughts on film scores.
I mean, there's just so many good ones.
We're going to have to take in some more votes.
Yeah.
And we're still getting a lot of people coming in with votes at 877-2-RADIO-U, but even more people sending in other favorite movie scores.
Which is great.
Our very own Chris nailed it, Allie. He hit a home run with this.
I agree.
Home Alone.
Yes.
The score from Home Alone, which is another John Williams score. Unbelievable.
So good. And that just shows you John Williams just has a way of capturing a feeling, if that makes sense, and just a tune that sticks with you for years.
And you think about it, for 50 years now, because Star Wars came, like, it's been 50 years since the first Star Wars came out.
Yeah, we're getting close, if not yet.
I don't think that was the first movie he ever did either. I'm sure there's other greats before that. And he's still, even up until recently, still putting out movie soundtracks, movie scores that are amazing, that are still just as good as when he got started.
Exactly.
I don't know how you keep coming up with original stuff like that many years in life.
Didn't Jaws come out before?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and like that is an amazing one too. I almost picked Jaws. Like that one is also very memorable. So yeah, he really is he's so good.
Regina says voting for Hudson. The Star Wars music is classic. Never seen Mad Max. Definitely don't remember the score for Amazing Spider-Man 2, but at least I've seen that movie and it clearly didn't stick out.
Nah.
Thank you, Regina. William says, I enjoy both picks, but I would say I'm going to choose Allie's picks. Now, his favorite will be Back to the Future, as that was his choice.
Very good one.
Which is a great one by Alan Silvestri. Another one I haven't seen anybody point out yet. Alan Silvestri, he does some of the Avengers movies.
The Avengers theme is very good.
Very good. Also, one of my honorable mentions was Forrest Gump, which he did as well.
Yeah.
Very good score. Nathan agreeing with somebody who had texted earlier about the 1989 Batman, not just for Danny Elfman, but also for Prince.
Yes, there's a great Prince song in that.
And he's choosing Star Wars. He's choosing me because I chose Star Wars.
Okay.
Thank you, Nathan. Susanna added also in another Hans Zimmer one that's great, is Dune.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I was going to say, Hans Zimmer is, did I say this? That hit or miss. Like some of his are very, very good, like Lion King and Dune is great. Sometimes,
Man of Steel is also really good.
Sometimes I feel like a little too much for me. He gets a little too much. Lindsay says she's voting for you, and her favorite score is Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah, the first Lord of the Rings movie. That's a really good one.
Another Hans Zimmer mentioned, Jeff going with Interstellar. He says he feels like that score is its own character.
Oh, yeah, that's a good way to put that. I've never heard someone describe it that way, but that really is a good way to describe it.
Logan says voting for Allie for Jurassic Park. And he couldn't get into the Mad Max score, the original Mad Max. And then Landon also added in Pirates of the Caribbean being up there, which is another Hans Zimmer. So a lot of love for Hans Zimmer here and John Williams. We just can't get enough.
Can't get enough of those two names. But I mean, come on. They literally are at the top of their game all the time. I
have two more movies that I want to bring up.
Okay.
With great scores. And one is Soul, which I just watched.
Okay.
But Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, and then like John Batista, some music for that movie too. That has some great music, which it should. It's a movie about
jazz, right?
Yeah, jazz.
Yeah.
And then Toy Story and anything else that Randy Newman did.
You know what? And again, that's another nostalgic pick where it's just like it makes you feel so like good.
Anytime, like with Randy Newman, he's doing the music and like actual original songs with lyrics for the movies too, which is so amazing.
Yeah, the very, very good pick there.
I just saw Randy Newman performing, not in person, but like I watched a video of him performing. He's so old, but he's still so like he hasn't lost a step.
It's true. And I want to say one last thing because so many people shouted out John Williams. I almost picked Schindler's List because he did win an award for that. And my favorite quote from John Williams ever is he was proposed the idea by Steven Spielberg to do Schindler's List, and he came back to him and he said, "You need a better composer for this." And Steven Spielberg goes, "I know, but they're all dead." So very humble guy, apparently.
Yeah, man, one of the all-time greats.
Yes.
Well, I mean, if not the greatest of our time.
Thanks for listening to the RadioU Podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the show.